Every step counts. Literally. Because I made a ROM hack of Pokemon Emerald where every step in game costs you 5 Pokédollars. And if I ever hit 0, the game resets. And to add to the challenge, I won't be allowed to see how much money I have at any point throughout the gameplay, which means that any misstep, any wrong turn, or backtracking has the potential to make me restart the entire game. So let's find out together if this thing's possible to beat. We start the game in Littleroot with 3,000 Pokédollars to our name, and without skipping a beat, we're off and losing money. We go through the required intro sequence of setting our clock and meeting May, all while making sure to use optimal walking paths. We select one of the best starter Pokemon of all time in Mudkip, and rescue Professor Birch. After a quick rendezvous with the lab, we begin a dreadfully long walk north to battle May, who we quickly defeat, and receive our first payday of $300, which equates to 60 in-game steps. Battling is going to be the most steady and consistent way to fund our walking in this challenge, and while normally I'd also be able to make money by selling items, one of the rules of the challenge is that I can't know how much money I have at any time, and if I try selling items in a mart, the game will show me my money count on screen. So I'm going to be avoiding marts, and any other NPC interaction that displays my money. But now we head all the way back down to Littleroot again and meet up with May and Professor Birch at the lab. And finally, we're done with all the story-required walking and get to make our own decisions on what to do. So it's time to start problem solving. First off, how can you make as much money as possible? Well, this is pretty obvious. You need to battle every trainer available. Okay, so that's pretty easy to do, but I think the more important question is how can you save the most money possible? This is a question with many, many answers. The first thing to start with is to optimize your paths. And I know I already mentioned this earlier to an extent, but with trainer battles involved now, path optimization becomes far more complex. In addition to avoiding basic missteps and wrong turns, I also need to make sure that I can battle every trainer in between cities without needing to heal in a Poké Center. If I have to stop part of the way through a route and walk all the way back to the nearest Poké Center, I'm going to be spending at least a couple $100s to do this, which is enough of a loss to downright kill the run before reaching the next city. To make up for this, and because we're going to have to take damage in order to make money, I make sure to grab the potion that starts the game in our PC, as well as talk to this guy standing outside the Pokemart in Old Dale Town who gives us a free potion. The other piece to optimizing our paths is to plan ahead for what wild Pokemon you're able to encounter on each route. This is something that I'll start doing immediately. We start sweeping through the trainers of Route 102 and pick up a Ralts and Lotad to add to our team. Lotad should come in handy because of its type advantage at the first gym, and Ralts will evolve into Gardevoir, which will help us later because she's a battler in the streets and a freak in the... never mind. Just before reaching Petalburg City, I make my first guess at how much money I have left. This is where I should tell you, I'll be stopping at various points throughout my gameplay to make a guess at how much money I have left, and I'll be showing the amount on screen so that you and the audience can see, but I'm fully covering my eyes and looking away so that I can't see the value at all. If I had to guess, I'd say like 1,500 bucks-ish. Honestly, it's pretty crazy that I was only $30 off on my first guess, but as you'll come to see, my perception becomes more and more distorted the longer I play. We continue into Petalburg City where we talk to our dad, we watch a Make-A-Wish kid catch a Ralts, and then zigzag through Petalburg Forest where it's likely that we've had a net loss of money due to these disgustingly stingy bug catchers. But just outside the forest is where we get our first big break and coming across a couple of rich kids who got their grubby little hands on Daddy's wallet. Oh, that's big. We're able to get a much needed refueling of the walking budget as we continue to push forth into Rustboro. We make a quick pit stop to heal up at the Poké Center before going directly to take on our first gym leader, Roxanne. This fight goes about as easy as it can because of our type advantage, and we secure another $1,500. After the gym, we push through some more story-driven quests and save Mr. Briney's beloved Wingull, and we're able to build in a little more buffer into our wallet. Which is coincidentally going to come in handy right away because we need to go find Steven in Dewford and talk to Captain Stern at Slateport. Both of which are pretty walking-driven tasks. But before we do that, I like to fight May in an optional battle to gain some easy experience in cash, and... oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm gonna win this. Oh no. What did I do? Okay, this was a big learning moment for me because I overlooked a simple fact. Mudkip was only water type, but Marshtomp is dual type, ground and water, both of which are weak to grass. So the absorb from May's Trico now hits me for 4 times super effective damage instead of 2 times. So this was my fault. And what did it cost? Half of my money. Half. Everything that I just worked for was essentially nullified. So obviously I decided to try again, and by the graces of God, Ralts' confusion left May's Trico confused on a 10% chance, and then Trico basically beat itself to death. Ralts, you are amazing. Which in turn allowed us to receive $900 instead of cutting our wallet in half again. We continue over to Mr. Briney's cottage and make another money check. Not bad, but not great. And if I hadn't won my second battle against May, I don't even know if I would have had enough cash to make it here. We sail into Dewford, and sensing the lack of funds, I decided to start our visit by taking on the gym. Picking up cash left and right before facing Brawley, who should be a walk in the park. Except that I got overconfident and I was trying to switch train Ralts, which completely backfired and lost me the battle. You're kidding. So I went back and played it smart and won the battle this time, collecting $1,900 in the second gym badge. That was not easy. 2 tries was tough. 1,900, thank goodness, I probably needed that. I cautiously navigated through the granite cave and delivered the letter to Steven. Great. Now that we've wrapped up everything we need to do in Dewford, it's time to get moving on to the next city. We set sail over to Slateport where we demolish some kids on the beach and level Ralts up to level 16 where she learns the move Teleport. This is the real reason why I grabbed Ralts in general, and why I've been switch training so often. I now have the ability to go from wherever I am on the map to the last Poke Center without taking any steps. So if used correctly, it's kinda like the great value version of Fly, but I get it so much earlier in the game. I blaze through Slateport, talk to Captain Stern and battle Team Aqua before going back to Petalburg and heading north again. The next stop along the way is... No... Oh. Okay. Let's run it back. Okay, so what went wrong from the first run? Really, it breaks down to one thing. I kept losing battles. Losing half of your money, no matter how much you have, dramatically hurts you. So how can I avoid losing? Well, I need healing items for battles. And I can't go to a mart, and frankly it costs a lot more to meander around grabbing items in the overworld than it's worth, and there's not as many healing items as you'd think. It seems like there's not much else we can do, but in reality, there's an answer right under our noses. Right off the bat, we have the opportunity to grab Zigzagoon, who, in addition to being a pretty good HM slave, also has the ability Pickup. In Generation 3 games, if you win a battle, any Pokemon with Pickup in your party has a 10% chance of picking an item up, which could be all sorts of things, like different types of potions, escape ropes, or status healing items. So my plan is pretty straightforward. Get my Mudkip, grab a Ralts, because I still want Teleport, and grab 4 Zigzagoons to sit in my party and farm items. I glided seamlessly to the first gym again and battled Roxanne, but I was rushing and overconfident, and honestly the battle just didn't go my way. And to add insult to injury, I had been using the potions I got from Pickup to heal up, so I didn't even stop at the Poke Center in Rustboro before the gym. Which resulted in me getting sent all the way back to Petalburg City, which I finally realized right here. Oh my god. So I marched all the way back up and begrudgingly stopped in the Rustboro Poke Center this time, before going in and getting clapped a second time, because I used all my potions last time. But you know what they say, third time's a charm. I guess we'll never know. Okay, deep breaths everyone. Let's go again. I think my approach was correct last time, but my execution was very poor. So I did everything pretty much the same, doing slightly less early game switch training of Ralts so that Mudkip would be a higher level at the first gym, which worked out on the first try this time. I continued on and even beat May on the first try with the help of a critical hit from Tackle, and made it to Dewford where we crushed Brawley in one go, leaving us with more money than we've ever had at this point. Slateport went as planned and we cruised through Route 110 up until we battled May again. But now we've got a level 20 Kirlia and a level 25 Marshtomp. What could go wrong? Kirlia came in and carried its weight, leaving Grovyle in fumes before being taken out. But Absorb again did what it does best and started demolishing Marshtomp and replenished Grovyle. After accepting my fate, this happened. No way. In both battles against May, I was bailed out by a critical hit Tackle. I need to be more prepared for my next battle, because statistically speaking, this level of luck will not continue. I pushed onward and arrived in Mauville, where I battled Wally and gave his underleveled Ralts the punishing of a lifetime, before battling my way through the gym and taking on Watson. And once again, because of Marshtomp's type advantage in this gym, I was able to wipe out his team with relative ease and grab the Dynamo badge. After my victory, I headed west toward Verdanturf, where I entered the Rustturf Tunnel, which will now let me connect Rustboro to Verdanturf, and will in turn shorten walking routes. All I have to do is use Rock Smash to break this last rock away. Except I forgot to grab Rock Smash and Mauville from the Rock Smash guy, and yes, that really is canonically his name. So I walked back, grabbed the HM, and teleported back to Verdanturf, thank you teleport, and then finally opened the tunnel up for use. The next stop on our journey is to head north from Mauville, go through the Fiery Path, and arrive in Fall Arbor Town. And this is a really long stretch to walk, but it is loaded with trainers. So I battled one after another, over and over and over. And because of my repetitive exposure to battles, I started to notice something that would forever change the way I look at this game. I've never noticed this before. Everyone's eyes in this game are at a different level. Isn't there a term for that? There's a term for that, I swear. Every trainer in this game has this. So sorry to this person, whoever you are. But, look at this. Every single trainer. I never noticed that. You probably never notice it if you're playing on a Game Boy, because they look about the same, because it's so, small of a screen. Every single trainer. It's glaringly obvious, and now you'll never not see it. Dude! Look at these! That's terrible! They look like inbred twins. After finally running through the slurry of facially contorted trainers, I made a quick pit stop to heal up at Fall Arbor Town, interacted with Team Magma and Team Aqua at Meteor Falls, and then went and caught a Skarmory to use as my HM holder for Fly once we get it. I made a quick money check before heading over to Mount Chimney. As easy as it is to feel comfortable on the outside looking in, I was still feeling the pressure of being broke, so I was scared to lose any battles. But that wasn't to worry because I plowed through all of Team Magma's members, including Leader Maxi, which led to Marshtomp reaching its final evolution. I took Swampert and the rest of the team into Lavaridge Town, where we utterly decimated Flannery in the least competitive gym battle yet. And honestly, from here forward for a little while, it felt like I was on cruise control. I had the basic formula mastered. Battle trainers to get money and experience. Check my party to see if Zigzagoons had picked anything up. And just keep going through the story, hitting gym after gym. I whooped on my gym leader dad, Norman, back in Petalburg, and got the HM Surf from Wally's dad. I picked up an amulet coin from my mom back in Little Root, so now I'm receiving double the prize money on my battles. I ran through the gym at Fortree, which is my personal favorite town theme in any game. I went to Lily Cove and pummeled gym leaders Tate and Liza, but with the amulet coin, look at how much money I was making. Oh my gosh. I went and completed the story-required events at the Weather Institute, where I paired up and double battled against Team Magma with Steven, and had a shocking discovery about Steven's character in general. Bro, Steven is handsome. They made him look old, but look, he doesn't look old, he looks freaking handsome. How old is Steven supposed to be, canonically? What? Steven is supposed to be 25 years old? They gave him silver hair, and from the overworld it just looks like gray. I thought this dude is in his 60s. Then it shows him here and he's just handsome with silver hair. He's like Danny Phantom. This is probably something that you were aware of, but it genuinely blew my mind. I kept pushing onward and found my way to Setopolis, where Groudon and Kyogre were locked in a battle of the gods, before I awakened Rayquaza and sent him in to save the day. I cleaned out the Setopolis gym, including Gym Leader Juan, who gives us the final gym badge we need. It's now time to take on the Elite Four, but right now my team is not even close to strong enough for this. For one, I really only have a couple of serviceable Pokemon, being a level 49 Swampert and a level 48 Gardevoir. And while this has been just enough to carry me through the gyms, I now have to beat 4 smarter, stronger, and more well-rounded trainers. So what do? I suppose I should probably build a strong, well-rounded team. Or I could just go catch Rayquaza, which in addition to having insane base stats, it joins our team at level 70. The highest level of any of the Elite Four trainers Pokemon is 58. Rayquaza is broken. And so with my lopsided team, I headed to the Elite Four and absolutely annihilated them. One after the next, after the next, after the next. It wasn't even close. I registered my team in the Pokemon Hall of Fame, and with the game beaten, I was finally allowed to take a peek at how much money I had left. How much money did I have in the end? Let's find out. I had $300,000. Wait, what? Yeah, does my thing still work? 55. 50. Yeah, okay. I have so much money at the end. Why was I so stressed out? I thought I had so much less. Dude, the only reason I didn't go do like move deletion and like get rid of some of my HMs for Swampert and get rid of Fly for Rayquaza was because I thought I couldn't afford to like walk that far. That's so stupid. So now after I've been able to watch back and reflect on my gameplay, I was pretty much in the clear for money after around Gym 3. But when I was playing, I had no clue of that. And because I had failed in my first 2 runs, in my 3rd run, every time I had to do some walking driven task, I just had this looming worry that the game was going to reset. Even when in reality I had like 100 grand. So I think the hardest part of this challenge was the doubt and uncertainty that comes with not knowing if your next step is going to be the last one you take. But on a personal level, I really enjoyed this challenge. So I'll be making some more ROM hacks that go far beyond the extent of what I did here, in terms of complexity and challenge. So if you enjoyed, stick around for more videos. And if you'd be kind enough, interacting with this video, whether you leave a comment, a like, or subscribe to the channel, goes a long way in helping getting my content promoted in the YouTube algorithm. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.